I'm Jason, 31 years old. I'm sitting outside the courthouse, having just filed the final papers for my divorce. My cheating bitch of a wife, Brittany, 30, has been having an affair for 8 years. I am devastated. Last Wednesday, Britt dropped by my work at the store I run with my brother. Although we were busy, I asked her to sign the final documents. While she was reading, I went about my business. Suddenly, I noticed that she was on the last page, looking at me with tears in her eyes, pleading. I was furious. I told her not to bullshit me and to sign it. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I got even angrier. I told her to say what she wanted, but to stop this shit. She meets other people, sleeps with them, and she never showed that she wanted to fix things between us. She signed the papers and left with her head down. I caught up with her to discuss alimony. We got into her car. Britt asked about our son. He seems to be fine, but we don't communicate even though I try. She just nodded, sad. I gave her one last chance to speak, and she just looked at me silently. I got angry. I said that she never loved me. Tears streamed down her face. She said it was a lie. I replied that if she loved me, she would not have thought about cheating. When people flirted with me, I always refused. I said that my wife would not appreciate it, and I would walk away. I never even thought about cheating. If I had known that she didn't love me from the very beginning, I would have avoided a lot of pain. I wouldn't have married her. It destroys me. But life goes on. I heal my wounds. I find joy in familiar things. I train more. I look better. Women pay attention. It's nice. But I don't have the strength to talk to them or ask them out. My heart is not ready yet. I know I need to go through all my feelings, work with them, to accept a new life. But it's hard. I'm sure everything will get better soon. Right now, all the emotions are overwhelming. Commenters on Reddit say that I did the right thing, that her crocodile tears are just a sign of disrespect, that over time I will leave it behind, and I will become a better person. I am not giving up. I'm working on moving on. I enjoy what I have now. I am healing my wounds. I do not change my principles. I don't put pressure on myself. I love the Brittany she used to be. Now she is completely different. It takes time to let go, but everything will be fine. I believe in it. Commentators advise not to rush into a new relationship, to be picky when I'm ready. I'm not trying to jump into a new relationship or give my body to the first person who comes along. I just want to stop feeling anything for Britt. But it's a process, I understand. There are times when I want to give up on morality. Write to the parents of my son's team, tell them everything, post it on Instagram, print out postcards of her favorite places. But that's not me. Not the person I really am. It just still hurts. But I'm really trying to heal. Thank you all for your support. It means a lot. I realize that life is unfair. As my grandmother used to say, don't jump into the mud with the pigs because you will get dirty yourself. Some people just don't believe in what I believe in. Maybe one day karma will catch up with her. Someone will expose her lies, and my children will see that I have not stooped to her level. The main thing is to be kind to yourself, to live for today. Now I am alone. I must be in shock. I don't know what I feel except a huge emptiness inside. Britt knew when I was going to court. It was like a challenge to me, but I understand. Safety first, then teamwork. It still doesn't feel real, as if I can take the signed papers and say I'm divorced. But it hasn't sunk in yet. My friends suggest we celebrate. They are nice, not rude or vindictive. They just want to be with me. It's nice, but I don't know what to do. I should feel free, or cry again. I want to hear my wife's voice, but I don't have a wife anymore. Only a stranger with her face. The tears are coming, but more humbly than bitterly. It's good that I have a wonderful family, and a dog, and a few friends, the best ones. I have support. I'm just empty, tired, exhausted. I don't know what to do next. Should I call my son, or should I give up and fly to Italy to look for real estate? Go to Vegas to see old friends, recharge in the desert, or just lie here staring at the ceiling? That's what I want to do the most right now. But life has to go on. Thank you all for the book suggestions. I will pick them up today. I'm glad to do something. I never thought I would be here, but at such a time for Italy you can go. Vegas is for a short time with friends, not a skeletal life in a casino resort. Although the weather and mountains there are wonderful. I've just come back from there myself. I flew in yesterday. I feel your every word, brother. I'm in the same boat. I'm signing the papers today at 15 o'clock. It's been almost 2 years since she left. She left our family on our 22nd wedding anniversary. I am just empty, tired of fighting. Hang in there, brother. Better things are waiting for us. We just have to be patient and kind to ourselves. One step at a time, breath by breath. We deserve better, damn it. I feel your pain, I'm sorry. Last update. Still a little confused. And here's what's really bothering me right now. I was on my way to work. So was my ex. We stopped at the same traffic light. I was going to turn left. She was going to turn right, onto the highway. My heart and stomach jumped, as if metal butterflies were cutting through my insides. So familiar, so confusing, sometimes so terrifying. We looked at each other until the light changed, and then we went in different directions. It's hard to imagine anything more symbolic, both literally and figuratively. And yet here I am, pouring out my pain. I still feel longing, sadness, anger, disappointment, nausea, a lot of depressive emotions. For God's sake, I just want to feel indifference, to tear this deep love out of me. To hell with her and her worthless excuses. To hell with love for her. Because that's exactly what I don't want to feel. But I can't. I have the sweetest nightmares about her, as vivid as ever. Her scent, her warmth, the feel of her hair, the skin on my face merging with my beard. The softness of her skin on my bare chest. The rhythm of her heart as I held her in my arms in the dark. I hate that she left such a mark, when it was so easy for her to destroy everything. I know it's over. I know this feeling may never go away. I know it will take time to get over the trauma, but I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of crying. Remind myself that it's normal, and that it is not normal to be normal. I miss the feeling of stability. Every day is like balancing on a barrel on a platform. Sometimes everything is fine. I keep my balance. I got used to it over these 8 months, and sometimes there is no relief from the pain of betrayal. I fall off the damn platform, because balance is bullshit. It's clear what day it is. It gets worse before it gets better. I hate platitudes. Last update 3 weeks ago. Yesterday I was at my son's soccer game. Seeing him, what an adult he has become, filled me with happiness. He will be 14 in November. He is so tall, his voice breaks. It's strange that I missed it. I noticed my ex only during the break. I felt that someone was watching. I looked around. She was sitting with her parents. Unfortunately, the team lost, but they played great. When everyone was leaving, I was waiting for my son. Her parents passed by. I nodded and called them by name. They looked at me as if I were air. I laughed. I went to meet my son. It was so great to hug him, talking in person, not on the phone. Every moment is worth its weight in gold. My ex came up and said something tender to him. I asked when the next game was, because I depend on her for that. We communicate clinically. She knows that we are not friends. I made it clear when she wanted to sit with me at the last game. My son gave me a big hug and I told him I loved him. It was hard to let go, but I forced myself. I didn't look at her, didn't say goodbye. I turned around and walked to my car, although everything inside me was screaming to run up, grab her, kiss those lips, to hold this body, to feel the warmth, the heartbeat, something I valued for almost 10 years. I feel betrayed by my own heart. I have to hold back by force. No tears, at least until I get home to the quiet solitude of my home, but they are minimal. I am still trying to control these feelings. Even this morning I had sweet nightmares about her again. It's like I'm fighting with my own body and mind. I do my best. I train almost every day. I eat healthy, maybe once or twice a week. I plunged into business with my brother, and it's booming. There are more employees than ever. It's cool, honestly. I read more, study stocks and investments. I got a certificate, but my corgi Jack saves me the most. He always wants to play, my second little son. It's strange trying to fill the void. Now you can definitely feel it. A giant gaping hole inside. I loved being a husband and father. We had almost conceived our second child when Hurricane Harvey hit. We were safe, dry, unharmed. Through all this crazy sex, we knew in November that she was pregnant. But in the end, because of money and space, Jake was right. He took the dogs and went to spend the night with his brother Ethan and his family. The next day, he came home in the afternoon. Emily said she wanted to go out with her friends while he was gone, and he didn't interfere with her fun. Jake came home around midnight and Emily came home around 6 a.m. When he saw her, he said he was glad, but she just mumbled that the month had been terrible, especially the last week, so she didn't even kiss him. She was rude, snarky, and just plain cruel. Jake begged her to talk to him, to tell him what was going on. He noticed that things were not right and wanted to settle things. His good friend Alex saw Jake at work and got worried. Jake explained that he loved his wife, because they had been together for 8 years, 5 of which they had been dating and married for 1.5 years. He did not know what to do. Alex advised him to see a marriage counselor and said that he had been through something similar. He suggested that Jake read the book, The 5 Love Languages, and another book that Jake couldn't remember the name of right now. After reading the book that night, Jake realized that he had been prioritizing his work, the business he and his brother shared, because they were overwhelmed by his prosperity. But he never stopped trying to show love, to be close in conversations and physically, even though Emily pushed him away. The next day when Jake returned home, Emily was not feeling well, and he tended to her. In the morning, as she was getting ready to leave, he calmly and lovingly asked if they could talk for a while. Jake told her everything he had learned from the book and admitted that he had been inattentive. He said he loved her and that they should see a marriage counselor to try to work things out for the sake of their love and their son. His words must have hit a nerve with Emily, because she broke down in tears and started repeating that Jake would eventually hate her. When he asked her to be honest, she admitted that she had cheated on him last weekend when she had supposedly gone to see her friends. Jake was shocked and angry, but he loved his wife, his marriage, and his son. So, like a fool, he told her he forgave her, but she had to tell him all the details. Emily was silent and did not name names, only said that since July, she had been communicating with a certain AP and had an emotional affair with him, which allegedly ended in September. But how could Jake believe her after she had betrayed their marriage and vows? It was on a Thursday. He tried to talk to her that night, but she refused. She never wanted to discuss problems. Friday passed the same way. Jake was devastated, did not sleep, felt confused and angry. On Saturday, his brother Ethan, seeing how broken he was, told him to go home and deal with the situation. Emily got up, went to work, and Jake, completely broken, called his father. He too had been a cheater in his marriage, but he and his mother had worked things out and had a fantastic relationship for 38 years. His father told Jake that Emily's betrayal was not a mistake. She knew exactly what she was doing. She needed to make a choice, and if she didn't, that would tell Jake everything he needed to know. He gathered his strength, cleaned up the house, made sure his son Liam was okay, and left. Jake went to the gym in their apartment and told Emily she should come talk to him when she was done. Half an hour later, she came over, and he calmly told her that she had to choose their family and marriage or AP. Emily asked for some time, and Jake agreed on the condition that she didn't talk to or see that guy. She agreed and went running for 2 hours. When Emily came back, she finally noticed that Jake had cleaned the apartment and started crying. When he asked her about it, she just kept silent. Finally, she said it was over. Crying, Jake took a duffel bag, put some things in it, and kissing his son Liam, explained that he would be living with his Uncle Ethan for a while. Liam was distracted by video games and seemed fine. The next morning at 6 o'clock, Jake returned to pick up the rest of his things. Emily sat on the bed with tears in her eyes and watched him pack his bags. When she asked what he was doing, Jake said she had made her choice. Emily began to sob. Jake's heart was breaking, but he still wanted his wife back. Like a fool, he got into bed with her, hugged and kissed her for half an hour. Then he told her that it shouldn't be like this, but she had to confess everything. Emily was silent. Angry, Jake yelled at her that it was all for nothing. He finished packing his bags, and said that his father and brother were waiting at a coffee shop nearby to help with the heavy stuff. They woke Liam up and gave him some excuse for leaving. Emily didn't want to see Jake's family because she was ashamed. While she and Liam went shopping, Jake and his dad and brother took his things, leaving their son with all his cool stuff. Before leaving, Emily texted him to wait for her and Liam. When they returned, the apartment looked like it had been robbed. Emily begged Jake not to leave, saying that Liam had knocked over a window in a fit of anger and said he wanted them to be a family again. Jake wanted that too, but he saw no other way out. He forced Emily to tell her parents, afraid that otherwise they would find out everything from Liam. For the next week, Jake tried to keep to his schedule, taking his son to school, making him breakfast, and taking him to his grandparents' house. They asked him what happened, and he told them everything. Emily wrote that she hated herself for what she had done, but she was still in contact with AP. She even asked if she and Jake could get back together, but he said that she knew what she had to do to make it happen. One day when Jake picked Liam up from practice, he wanted to show his dad something. They spent an hour in his room. When Jake came out into the living room, Emily was sitting there upset. She asked him to sit next to her and hugged him. Jake almost gave up, but stood up and said he wouldn't do it if she was still talking to that guy. Emily lied about breaking up with him. They even kissed a little bit, but then her phone rang. Jake saw how panicked she was. AP had been calling all day. He asked Emily to prove that she had really broken up with her lover, but she burst into tears and refused. Jake repeated that if she wanted him back, she knew what to do. During the week, he still drove Liam to school and even cooked meals, even though Emily didn't do laundry. Jake noticed that his son's sheets were dirty, and he smelled because he hadn't bathed. He had to scold Emily for not taking care of the boy. On the weekend, friends invited Emily to the fair, and Jake was impressed by how much fun she was having. She asked him to stay with Liam for at least a couple of hours. Jake agreed, because he wanted to spend time with his son, even though he knew he wasn't quite ready for it. When he arrived to pick Liam up from his friend's house, 4 other boys jumped into the car. Obviously, it was going to be a sleepover. Jake was angry not at them, but at Emily. He called her and told her that he would leave the fair if she left. Jake told Emily he wouldn't come back if she stayed at the fair, and it would take her 3 hours to get home. She got angry and said that she shouldn't be ashamed to celebrate her birthday with her friends. Jake replied that she should be ashamed of everything that was happening and that she was just taking advantage of the situation. He promised that it would never happen again. Emily criticized him and said that he should only be a dad. Jake didn't say anything, but he thought that she had chosen this life before he came along. After that, Emily even offered Jake to stay the night together in the same bed. He refused and left his upset son. Jake continued to visit Liam, even though it was draining him emotionally and financially, because he now lived 45 minutes away. Emily's parents only knew what Jake told them, because she avoided talking to them. The week of October 25th came, his ex's birthday. It was weird, and Jake did some kind of silly dance in shame. On Monday, he sent Emily cute video greetings. In the morning, Jake came to take care of Liam, took him to school, and then did everything he usually did on her birthday week, starting with a small gift to gradually work his way up to something bigger. He even found a photo of the 3 of them in a pumpkin patch in the early days of their relationship. Jake was about to leave when something caught his eye. He began to rummage around and found a new shoebox. Opening it, he saw a new vibrator, dildo, and anal plugs. Jake had thrown away all of their shared sex toys when he left, and Emily had even kept the packaging. The postmarks were dated the day after he left, and the box had a gift message on it from someone named Pri. Jake noticed a letter inside the box, written by a woman with the same last name as AP. There was another gift message. He opened it and saw a family photo, 2 little boys, a baby, a dog, a man and a woman. In the letter, she wrote to Emily that she had destroyed their marriage and could have AP. She also said that she had found out about the affair through the sex toys he had sent Emily. Jake took pictures of everything and went straight to his ex's parents to tell them what he had seen. Her father gave the same advice as everyone else. Hire a lawyer, gather all the evidence, and then file for divorce. That very day, Jake did just that. A few days later, he served Emily with the papers. For months, they sat in silence at their son's soccer games. There were a few intimate nights, but Jake was hesitant to have sex with Emily. Eventually, at one of the matches, she saw that he was in a bad way, and after his insistence, admitted that she was dating. That same week, Jake filed for divorce. Jake decided to return to the same ski resort he had been to last summer. It was his first real adventure just for himself. He didn't want to be distracted. He just wanted to remember how he first went snowboarding 10 years ago. He did well, and it brought him joy. For the first time in a long time, Jake did not feel the influence of his ex, who never liked to be alone with him in the snow and cold. Walking around the city, he caught himself twirling his ring finger as if he were still wearing his wedding ring, which had long since disappeared. Naturally, seeing couples in love on Valentine's Day made Jake feel heavy in his heart. It had been almost 2 years since the divorce, but it still bothered him. He missed the ring, or rather what it was supposed to symbolize. But in Emily's case, it turned out to be just a piece of metal and a false promise. Jake was surprised at how much joy, excitement, laughter, and silliness filled his life after the pain he had experienced. Snowboarding brought the pain he missed so much. He wanted to tell everyone who was suffering now that it does get easier with time. You have to give yourself time to mourn the loss, to suffer, to feel pain, but to work on it for your own sake. He thanked everyone who listened to his story. Jake shared his latest updates 2 years after the divorce. He started having strange dreams again. In a strange house where he and Emily were naked, she would look him up and down, give him that special smile and say hi. Jake couldn't say anything but, "I love it." Emily would snuggle up to him, and he would hug her, feeling her soft skin, warmth, and the smell of shampoo. Fortunately, the dog woke him up in a few seconds. It was the second such dream in a month, although Jake hadn't seen his ex since November. Perhaps it was because he had recently been building a house himself. The next day, he had a long-awaited conversation with his son, Liam. Jake hadn't heard from him for a long time, which was very frustrating, but he understood what it was like to be a teenager, dealing with his mom's annoying boyfriend, loans, and going to high school. Jake was happy that his son finally picked up the phone. They had a nice conversation. Jake talked about building a house, their aging corgi, and his love of video games. Liam was ranked high in Rocket League and was invited to a tournament with professionals that would be broadcast on Twitch. Jake was proud of him and was glad that his son promised to send a link and communicate more often. It seemed like a small victory. A few hours after the conversation, Jake's heart began to ache again. He hardly slept that night. His father noticed and asked what was wrong. Jake couldn't explain at first, but then he poured it all out. Although he was very happy that his son stayed with him, the pain of betrayal was still intense. His feelings of love and pride for Liam were closely linked to his feelings for his ex-wife. Every interaction with his son was a painful reminder. Jake's father, who had once been unfaithful but had atoned for it, said, "Maybe you should ask yourself if the pain and sorrow of all this is worth going down this path for the sake of your mental health. I can see your love for your son and the joy of being with him. But after that, there are days of recovery. I'm not asking you to abandon him. You've given him all of yourself. But maybe you need to let go. Your feelings are tangled in a web. Love for your son and the pain of betrayal." Jake understood that his father was advising him not to disappear from Liam's life, but to just stay away and save himself from the pain. The best advice Jake could give to those who are suffering is to hang in there, stay positive, and heal. He thanked for the advice not to mention his mom, her boyfriend, or their home life in front of his son. "I need to be an unbiased ray of light for Liam, an oasis. If the topic comes up, remain detached." Jake agreed to work together on a list of his son's short-term wishes. He gave up on Liam with all the depth of his love and promised to remember that their relationship should be an oasis.